38 terrorists and at least 2 Pakistan Army men have been killed by surgical strike by para forces of the Indian Army. Yet Pakistan says this was nothing big. It was only some cross-border violations. Still living in denial quite predictably. CR Keswan, you wanted to reply to Lieutenant Colonel Shafkat Saeed before we head into a break. Go ahead.
Three quick points, Padmaja. First thing is, I think Pakistan is completely cornered because it has received such a snub from the 4 of the SAARC countries. For Pakistan, SAARC is nothing but South Asian Association for Regional Confrontation. See, when the DGMO, briefed the press today, he was very clear. He said that India had very credible evidence of terrorists being in launch pads across the LOC, and this was to attack Jammu and Kashmir and other metros. So this was a very planned, preemptive attack by the Indian Army to take these terrorists out. And they also said those people who were supporting the terrorists, aka Pakistan Army, also suffered losses. But what is more critical here, Padmaja, is the phone call which the NSA of the American government made to the NSA of India. This was released by the White House today, saying that it was made today morning. And what does it say? For the first time, America has come down very strongly, and condemned the Uri attacks after, it happened after 10 days after it has happened, and also specifically said Pakistan needs to take action and delegitimize Jaish-e-Mohammed and Hizbul Mujahideen. And why does Susan Rice have to make this statement today to Ajit Doval if this was just a cross-border shelling? It is very clear that the Indian Army has come down and taken out these terrorists, numbering more than 38, and Pakistan has been, sent a very strong message, and they're in denial.
Not just that, and Lieutenant Colonel Saeed, your Prime Minister had to convene a meeting with the NSA, the Defence Minister, the Interior Minister, everyone present. Your Pakistan Army Chief. Is that how spooked you get about cross-border shelling? Lieutenant Colonel Shafkat Saeed? If it was such a small matter, why did your Prime Minister have to rush and ask for a meeting with the NSA, Pakistan Army Chief, Interior Minister, Defence Minister, everyone present? Tomorrow there's an emergency cabinet meeting. If this is how you react to cross-border shelling, when you finally admit to a surgical strike, what do you do?
It has nothing to do with this cross-border shelling. Look, this again, now you tell me that 250 men, after having rehearsed everything, went in and they could just manage killing soldiers and no terrorists
and 38
and
terrorists.
Nothing else. What did they go for?
Camps.
They went there for eating biryani? What sort of surgical strike was this?
38 terrorists and 7 camps. 3 kilometers into your territory on foot from the LOC.
No, not at all. You cannot imagine that by Indian forces. No, it is not possible.
At Bimbar.
It is not possible. It has not been done. And you always
it is
have
all
a very
recorded, Lieutenant Colonel Shafkat Saeed. When tomorrow you show the visual evidence, what do you do?
Pakistan Army has confirmed. Pakistan Army has already confirmed the locations.
It was a LOC violation location.
No,
they have not said
Siddharth
there are no terrorist camp in Kashmir. There are no terrorist camps in Kashmir.
Of course there are no terrorist camps in Kashmir. There are terrorist camps in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Siddharth Nath Singh.
I mean Kashmir, yes. On Pakistani side, there are none. There are none.
Siddharth Nath
and
Singh.
Whatever you did, you just want to mislead your population.
Let me first tell the general.
I'm a colonel. I'm a colonel.
First that you
I'm
may
a
be,
colonel.
Sorry, Colonel.
I'm
sorry,
you're
Colonel. And that Pakistan, certainly, the Pakistan is a separate, that is an international border. We are talking across LOC, which is Pakistan illegally occupying Kashmir. And that is where legitimately we entered and also destroyed your launch pad. And that has been confirmed, which I am reporting from the Pakistani newspapers, and your army has confirmed at 5 different points, which have where the Indian Army attacked, and therefore you are not confirming it's terrorist hideouts, you are not confirming how many they have died, but you have confirmed those 5 points which have been under attack last evening or last night by the Indian Armed Forces. So let's not be in a denial. Now the issue is, Mr. Colonel, the issue is are you with the terrorists or you want to come out as a democratically civilian government? Now if you want to fight terrorism, you keep shouting about that you are a victim of terrorism. This is your chance. India stands out. Now, India will not tolerate this. That's the message. You have been isolated in the SAARC region, in the subcontinent. You are getting a snub from the Americans and various other countries. So you have to take a call. Which way you wish to go? You have been cornered all through now.
This hype, this hysteria is not going to
It's not
affect
a rant, it's a
Pakistan
piece
at
of
all.
advice.
You think that by this rant and these false flag operation you would be able to melt Pakistan's submission?
Let's not
This
call
is
it
your
rant,
fallacy.
Colonel. You know,
This is your
where
fantasy,
was Osama bin
and
Laden?
you keep
He
living
was hiding
this
in
fantasy.
Pakistan. He was killed in Pakistan. We all know what is Hafiz Saeed. Let's not talk about anything else. Dawood Ibrahim, the United Nations has confirmed
do you know
the addresses
Babu
of
Bajrangi?
Dawood Ibrahim.
Do you
Which
know
world
Babu
are you
Bajrangi?
living?
Do you know
want
Babu
to
Bajrangi?
continue? You face the brunt.
No, come on, tell me. Do you know Babu Bajrangi?
Forget about Babu Bajrangi.
Why not?
Don't come out.
No,
Why
I'm
don't you
again
go?
with due
No, no, fair
respect to
enough.
you, Siddharth
Why
Nath
don't you go
Singh,
down to
I
United
think it's a
Nations and
foregone
get it done?
conclusion where Pakistan stands, because Rajiv Dogra, they are risking at this point having their people parched. Because when the Indus Water Treaty will be rethought, their people will be denied with a substantial amount of water. They have been isolated in SAARC. They have been, they might just be denied the MFN status also. They are facing international condemnation, and yet their Prime Minister will hail Burhan Wani as a hero.
Look, ma'am.
So I think it's a foregone conclusion where Pakistan stands today.
Well, if I can say uninterrupted by your Pakistani guest, and if I am allowed to speak for a few minutes, then firstly my request is that Indian channels should not waste their time, especially on a day like this, to be stonewalled by your guest from Pakistan and others like him, because any meaningful discussion becomes impossible with such kind of propaganda going on. Second, we cannot expect this man to accept the Pakistani perfidy when his entire state and establishment is in denial. Since this morning, the Pakistani civilian side, their POK administration and the army have been frozen into inaction on response front, on the acknowledgement of the fact that their terrorists and their army were cohabiting together, which was the entire point of Indian exercise, that army is in the same camp as the terrorists, and we cannot afford to have this any longer. The second point, the larger point I wish to make is the contrast between Pakistan and India. Look at how we have conducted ourselves. DGMO, in a very gentlemanly and correct fashion, rang up his Pakistani counterpart. The civilian and military cooperation was absolutely perfect when DGMO and our spokesman from external went in together. After that, the opposition was one with the government. But more important than that, Prime Minister had been giving a number of hints to Pakistan through international community. And please let me complete this. Be it at G20, be it in his meetings with Obama or the Chinese, or later on Mrs. Sushma Swaraj's address at UN, and finally Prime Minister made an appeal to people of Pakistan that please do not go in for war or terror and so on, fight poverty. But none of this had any appeal with Pakistani establishment, because they do not listen either to their people or to puppets like Nawaz Sharif. So we are dealing with a very unpredictable and very difficult neighbor. And Raheel Sharif, at the end of his term, when he is considered a demigod in Pakistan, is likely to react in very unpredictable way. So that is why I compliment the government, all wings of the government, for no chest thumping and for being matter of fact about it. And I think we should continue to be matter of fact in case of retaliation or in case of attack by Pakistan, which is likely to happen.
And I think you've really set the stage for the question that I want to ask Mr. Dogra, to Brigadier Gurmeet Kanwal, who's joined us now. Brigadier Gurmeet Kanwal, for Nawaz Sharif now, it's interesting how the narrative is going to change now. Do you think now for Nawaz Sharif, it's going to be a catch-22? How should he retaliate? Should he actually accept that there were strikes like this conducted by India what will that do to his position vis-a-vis the Pakistan Army Chief, Raheel Sharif, who's seen the biggest upswing in his popularity in recent times?
Firstly, let me add my compliments to the government. I think it's a welcome display of the national resolve. It's a befitting answer on all fronts, diplomatic, economic, and finally military. As for Nawaz Sharif and the Pakistan government, particularly the Pakistan Army, they have always been in denial. Even now they are in denial of what exactly happened. They are saying that there was some cross-border firing in which 2 of their men have died. That is a blatant lie. They will remain in denial.
Lieutenant Colonel Shafkat Saeed, what is your Prime
I would
Minister
just
going to
add
do?
one thing. I'm going to say one thing, that your ambitions outweigh your capability, and this is the worst scenario. And don't have a peg to hang your rag on, or false flag operations like you want to push up the campfire by a terrorist attack, hide your your fault. You have a long history in your army of hushing up accident by falsifying them into
Okay, I'm going to have to try and fix that audio line we have with Lieutenant Colonel Shafkat Saeed. But again, if Brigadier Kamal could come in on this, yes, a flag false operation. That is something we've heard over the last few days as well. And you find that this will be reiterated over the next few days, that it's a false flag?
I would like to ask Colonel Shaukat whether lifting of Osama bin Laden was also a false flag operation. I have been hearing him say this ever since the incident at Uri happened. Was Pathankot also a false flag operation? They remain in denial and they continue to perpetuate a proxy war. Now the nation has given them a befitting answer, and a multi-pronged strategy, comprehensive, holistic, will continue till the proxy war being sponsored by the Pakistan Army comes to an end finally.
Yes, Lieutenant Colonel Saeed, would you like to respond to that?
Yes, your stock exchange has dropped by hundreds of points. Everything is normal in Pakistan. Pakistan is poised. India is in problem. And why do you want to insult yourself by saying that 5 men would fight the whole Indian army in Pathankot for 5 days? Why you want to insult yourself? And why do you want to insult yourself that 4 men could enter a well-fortified
I strongly
front
condemn
post
statements
which is
on
properly
television, yeah.
protected? You have 1,200 men.
Lieutenant Colonel Shafkat Saeed, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but here we have a panel
You are the
which finds representation from across the political spectrum, and yet all of them are standing behind our government, and you've got Mr. Imran
for your
Khan
belligerence
of
today.
Tehreek-e-Insaf who's going to march to
Colonel,
Raiwind
you are
tomorrow
a disappointing
Those
country.
two
and say that he is
And
going
the
to
world
take on Nawaz Sharif, your
going
Prime
to
Minister.
answer to your disappointment further, since you
You would be
continue to
disappointed by
promote
seeing
and
that
abet
footage in which
terrorism.
about 6 soldiers have been killed by Pakistan army today.
Well, Padmaja, we don't want to listen from a disappointed
Yes, please,
country.
let's have Siddharth Nath Singh and
How
CR
long you
Kesavan
going to
respond
give
to
it?
this
You
diatribe
got
of
a
Lieutenant
befitting
Colonel Saeed.
response. Turn
We have shown, we have already shown that our patience was not our weakness. Our patience is our strength, and that's the land we come from. Unfortunately, you all also came from the same land, but somewhere down the line, you have been influenced by an ideology which is imbibed into your now culture, which is called terrorism. So you continue promoting that, continue supporting it. You will get a reply, whether it is from India or from the world. You have decided your fate. Let's wait. Where on the geographical map where the Pakistan goes.
And CR Kesavan, just on the political front, here you have a country giving a united face to the world, to Pakistan in particular. And on the other hand, there is a Pakistan where not only does Nawaz Sharif, the legally elected Prime Minister, have to contend with the army chief's popularity, but also a Tehreek-e-Insaf Pakistan chief Imran Khan, who is now promising a public march tomorrow to rally opinion against the civilian government.
We might not.
No, it's a very pertinent point. It's a clear reflection of how, what a failed state Pakistan is. I think Kenneth Galbraith had used it for another country. I think it's a functioning anarchy. That's how Pakistan has to be described. And I think please don't interrupt, sir. The most important part is, you had, when the Home Minister of India went for a SAARC summit in August, the kind of demonstrations was done by Salahuddin and Hafiz Saeed on the streets, just 6 kilometers from the ISI headquarters. and 10 kilometers from the venue, and Hafiz Saeed has a US bounty of 10 million. You have, terrorists wanted by the United Nations roaming freely in Pakistan, and here this gentleman comes and talks in denial. How long can Pakistan get away with this? The world is now, looking at the scourge. The world is, looking at the problem, which is being sponsored by Pakistan, and it's pervading all over.
And Lieutenant Colonel Saeed, we may just have set into motion a series of events which will result in Pakistan eventually imploding. As it is, you're perpetually on the brink.
Pakistan is held accountable for the terrorism emanating from the soil.
You cannot hush up Kashmir. You cannot hush up Kashmir.
Oh, what Kashmir?
You cannot hide Kashmir.
You know the kind of sponsoring you do. You protect, you foster, you provide arms, and you sponsor terrorism. You are the Ivy League of terrorism, like you are rightly called. And you will be held accountable for this. You will pay a price. You can't get away with this. How long can you get away with this?
Killing of minors.
And today you've been answered, and there has been a befitting response for you, and you're still in denial, which is so unfortunate.
Whatever you do, the reality...
No, you're completely exposed, and today you are losing your support worldwide, and I think you'll be isolated soon.
Fallacy can blur vision for some time, but it is fallacy.
Lieutenant Colonel Shafkat Saeed,
unfortunately, you're a failed state which is exporting terrorists.
you've been an army man, you're much elder to me, but this...
You have terrorists roaming freely in Pakistan.
These comments that you're making is exactly what your Prime Minister tried at the UN also. He was told in as many words by countries across the world that first deal with the terror infrastructure proliferating on your soil, and then please come crying to us. Kashmir issue is not something that anyone wants to give you the time of day for. But Brigadier Gurmeet Kawal, I want to ask you, as a strategy, is this sustainable? Repeated surgical strikes every time there's a misadventure by Pakistan.
It is absolutely sustainable. Every time there is a terrorist attack on Indian territory, for which we have credible evidence of state sponsorship by the deep state, the army and the ISI, we must hit to hurt the Pakistan army on the line of control.
Will you, Lieutenant Colonel Shafkat Saeed, I'm giving you the final word. I'm sorry, Brigadier Kawal, we had some problem in that audio line with you. I'm giving you the final word. It's not too late, because you're on the brink of being isolated, not just in the region, in the subcontinent, but also globally, and also suffer serious economic repercussions.
That is only happening in Indian media.
This could be a beginning. We've dismantled some of your terror infrastructure. Why don't you act against the rest?
And hysteria and fantasy only exist on Indian media. Pakistan has got very good relation with everybody less India. And with India, irrespective of the fact that Pakistan seeks peace, India is not seeking peace.
Well, I'm sure, but maybe you should have told Bhutan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan that before they pulled out of the SAARC summit, thanks to which is now going to be cancelled.
Subjects now at the moment. They would say whatever you say, they will play to your music. And
well, if you're such great friends, why aren't they listening to you?
Be happy. Be happy.
Okay, final comments. Siddharth Nath Singh, Rajiv Dogra and C.R. Keswan. Siddharth Nath Singh, final comments. What next? Are we prepared for some other...
The colonel, the Pakistan, Padmaja, the Pakistan will remain in denial, and when we talk about the SAARC and the isolation within the region, the regional isolation, then they say that Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, Afghanistan will say what India has to say. That is the isolation. If they don't want to understand that, then what can we say? But truly speaking, it's still a time for Pakistan to understand which way the country is going. It's for the army to understand literally than anybody else, and their civilians, that which way the Pakistan can go, because you are isolated and no more cross-border terrorism will be tolerated by India. India will act on counter-terrorism and will give a befitting reply.
Well, the deep state will keep wanting to push the civilian government into conflict with India, Rajiv Dogra, but will Nawaz Sharif finally pull his weight with the army and the deep state, Rajiv Dogra? Because it's his existence which is at stake here.
No, in fact, Nawaz Sharif has been a big disappointment. He was the one who dismissed 2 army chiefs previously, but now he is so afraid of army that he probably stands up when the army chief enters his room. So I don't think we should expect anything from Nawaz Sharif. What I fear is that it is going to be a long and hard battle, because Pakistan will not change its colors till it is pinned to the ground and pulverized repeatedly. So I think we are in for tough times, we are in for rough times, but we should be prepared for that.
Absolutely, and we are prepared, aren't we, C.R. Kesavan? Closing comments.
I think today's response by the Indian Army is a very befitting response. It's a preemptive strike. I think the message is loud and clear to Pakistan, and I think the Indian Army is very well prepared to take on any kind of retaliatory strike. And I think Pakistan has been completely exposed today, and Pakistan knows that the gloves are off, and I hope they learn their lessons and stop exporting terrorism from the soil.
Or otherwise, they'll be answered in the language they understand best. For now, thank you very much, Siddharth Singh, C.R. Kesavan, Rajiv Dogra,
Only
and
language
Lieutenant
they
Colonel
understand.
Shafqat Saeed for joining us on this special broadcast.